Most people who plan to move to Dubai make the same mistake. They Google cost of living Dubai, write down a few numbers and think they're prepared. But the real costs, the ones that catch you off guard, aren't always on those lists. Today, I'm breaking down every single one. The official ones, the hidden ones, and the unexpected ones that decide whether your Dubai move works or wipes out your savings. When my family and I moved here, I thought I knew the numbers, but the real costs only showed themselves once we got here. So let's break down the real cost of moving to Dubai in 2026. We're covering 5 major categories. Each one has surprises inside. If you want to skip ahead through the chapters, I promise I won't be offended. So let's get into it. Once you arrive, you enter setup mode, a never-ending checklist of admin that officially transforms you from a visitor to a resident. Every step has a fee. There's visa applications, Emirates IDs, biometrics, medical tests, initial appointment fees, miscellaneous admin charges, you name it. Individually, they're small, but collectively they're loud. And if you're not prepared, your first few weeks can feel like a financial ambush. Dubai is the deposit-heavy city, not in a negative way, it's just how the system works. But when you're fresh off the plane, every service seems to greet you with the same request for money up front. You pay the housing deposit, the agency fees, DEWA, and just when you think you're finally done, Dubai quietly opens up your wallet again. And then comes the settling in phase. And this is where the stealth costs creep in. You're doing things like booking Ubers because you don't have a car yet, getting a laundry service whilst you wait for your washing machine delivery, and then a whole wardrobe readjustment is needed because your summer clothes from back home, which only covered one season, are now needed all year round. You suddenly realize you need breathable fabrics, more options, and clothes that can tolerate the heat and the aircon. Here's the first cost almost everyone underestimates, and that's housing setup. In Dubai, your rental contract must be registered with Ejari, which is overseen by the Real Estate Regulatory Agency under the Dubai Land Department. This registration makes your tenancy legally valid. It links your contract to government systems and is required for things like your residence visa, bank account, and school admissions. The fee is small, usually around 155 dirhams through official channels. But here's what people forget. The real cost isn't the Ejari fee, it's everything that goes with it. There are housing setup costs that hit immediately. Things like your security deposit, typically 5% of annual rent for unfurnished properties and 10% for furnished. There's the agency or broker fees, which are usually 5% of annual rent, but this can vary by agent and property. There's your basic household utilities through DEWA, otherwise known as the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. Initial setup deposits are 2,000 dirhams for apartments, for villas 4,000. Some properties have cooling provider deposits around 1,000 to 2,000 dirhams depending on provider. Some have chiller fees depending on the building, some include it, but some don't. And then of course there's the usual moving costs and initial furnishing costs. When we first moved, I expected rent. What I didn't expect was needing to drop thousands before we even got the keys, and it adds up fast. Don't just plan for rent, plan for rent plus setup. Let's talk about one of the biggest costs families always underestimate when moving to Dubai: school fees. The Knowledge and Human Development Authority, or KHDA, oversees private school fees and publishes official annual ranges. Most parents already know Dubai schools aren't cheap, but the spread often shocks people. Official KHDA fees show that budget schools can range from roughly 12 to 25,000 dirhams per year, mid-tier schools roughly 35 to 55,000, and premium schools can be anywhere from 60 to 100k per year plus. The next thing to consider are the hidden extras. Parents focus on tuition, but here's what actually inflates the bill. You've got things like school bus transportation, uniforms, books, school trips, after school activities, and the last kicker, exam fees. So a school that looks affordable up front can cost 20 to 30% more than the headline amounts. Health insurance is one of the biggest costs people underestimate, and you don't get a choice. If you live in Dubai, you must have a DHA approved health insurance, no exceptions. According to the Dubai Health Authority, every resident, whether employed, self-employed or a dependent, needs active coverage at all times. If you're moving to Dubai with a corporate job, your employer usually covers you. But if you're an entrepreneur, a freelancer, a dependent, or setting up your own company, this becomes your responsibility and the costs can stack quickly. Typical healthcare costs per person person start from the basic DHA plan, which can be 700 to 1600 dirhams per year. And this meets the minimum legal requirements, but has limited networks, higher co-pays, and co-pays are simply the amount you have to pay from your own pocket for any insurance claim. There's mid-tier plans, which are £3,000 to £6,000 per year. You get better hospitals, wider networks, lower co-pays, fast approvals. And the premium family plans can cost anywhere from 15 to 25,000 plus annually. But with this, you get full coverage, maternity, dental, optical, add-ons, and access to private hospitals. But here's where most newcomers get caught off guard: co-payments. Even with good insurance, you might pay 10 to 30% of consultation or treatment costs out of your own pocket. There's maternity coverage, because not all plans include maternity automatically. Good maternity coverage usually requires a higher tier plan and often a waiting period. Dental and optical. So these are almost always add-ons and can significantly increase your annual costs if you need regular checkups or treatments. If you have pre-existing conditions, some insurers impose waiting periods or restrictions which can dramatically impact your first year's costs. There's geographical coverage, so UAE only versus worldwide, excluding US, makes a huge difference. When our second child was born here, the hospital experience was incredible. Private rooms, quick check-ins, excellent care. But here's the truth, it only felt seamless because our insurance plan actually covered everything we needed. If we'd gone with a cheaper plan, we'd have been hit with thousands in unexpected bills fast. A cheaper policy feels fine until you actually need it. So, don't budget just for the minimum DHA plan, budget for the plan that actually protects you and your family. And if you or your family members have any pre-existing medical conditions, make sure they're clearly declared and covered in writing. It affects both approvals and claims. The decision to buy or rent a car in Dubai catches out a lot of newcomers. And yes, metro exists, yes, public transport is improving every year, but the reality is Dubai is a car city. The distances, the heat, the layout, everything here is built around driving, which means very early on, every expat faces the same question: should I rent or should I buy a car? And the truth is, it's not as straightforward as people think. Renting is the option most newcomers consider first because it's fast, it's easy, it requires minimal paperwork. You basically walk in, show your license, sign and drive away. There's no long-term commitment, no upfront costs, no maintenance, no headache. But convenience comes at a premium. Small cars can cost anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 dirhams per month. Mid-size SUVs are 2,500 to 4,000, and premium 4,000 to 7,000 dirhams. The upside, you get zero stress, no servicing, no insurance admin, and you can swap the car pretty much any time. The downside is you're burning money every month without paying towards ownership if you want that. As for buying, the first thing to remember is to make sure you choose a GCC spec vehicle. That's one that's built for this climate. There's a lot of Chinese cars here flooding the market at a much cheaper cost than other manufacturers, so a lot of expats are choosing them. I won't go into detail about buying a car as I'm no specialist, but car running costs you might not find back at home are things like the cost of RTA registration, which can be up to 500 dirhams, and SALIC toll gates, which can be 4 dirhams per gate every time you drive through. When we first arrived, monthly car rental felt like the obvious choice. We didn't know the market, we didn't want the admin, and we just needed a car now. For the first few months, it was perfect. But once you've settled, once you know where you're living, and once you understand your commute, something becomes very clear. Long-term options, be that buying or long-term leases, are much better. I still remember the first week like it was yesterday. It wasn't any single bill that shocked me. It was the frequency I had to hand over my card again and again before we'd even finished unpacking our suitcases. Deposits here, admin fees, Uber rides everywhere. By the end of the week, I wasn't asking how much this is. I was just thinking, when does this stop? But here's the thing, once you know it's coming, it's completely manageable. Most deposits are refundable and most admin fees are one time. Most setup costs disappear after month one. Dubai front loads its expenses and it asks a lot from you in the beginning and then it stabilizes. Your first month in Dubai will be your most expensive month by far, even if you plan well, even if you have the spreadsheets and even if you think you've anticipated everything. It's normal. It's part of the reset. And once those deposits are returned and those one-off costs are behind you, life settles down. your cash flow stabilizes, and suddenly Dubai feels a lot less overwhelming and a lot more like home. So which one of these costs worry the most? Is it housing setup, school fees, car costs? Drop it in the comments. I'm curious as to what shocked you the most when you moved or researched the move. And if you're finding this helpful, hit that subscribe. Not for me, but for you. I break down the real numbers, the real rules, the real life of Dubai every single week. Moving to Dubai is one of the most exciting decisions you can make, but it's also one of the most expensive if you don't plan it properly. And when you go informed, everything becomes easier. Your stress drops, your confidence grows, and your move becomes a lot smoother. If you want more help on this, watch my Life in Dubai playlist next, where I cover jobs, school fees, cost of living, buying versus renting, and life as an expat father here. I'll leave you with this. Dubai isn't cheap, but it's full of opportunity. And when you understand the real costs, you can make the smartest move of your life.